Yo, what's up, family? Before we start the video, please leave a like, subscribe, and share to any and everyone that you can. Just get out there a little bit more. With that being said, let's get right into the video. The Boston Celtics are patiently waiting for their next opponent, and while the Magic defense was a huge talking point last series, I think the Celtics defense had a really good series and game plan given who they were playing, and I wanted to take a look. So let's get into the film. All right, how y'all doing? I hope y'all doing good. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not, make sure you take your shoes off before you come in the house. And isn't it so lovely to just have the luxury to just wait and get healthy and just chill for a second before we go to the next round? Such a luxury to take care of your business early. But the Celtics in this series were really good defensively. Of course, the Orlando Magic being one of the worst shooting teams I've ever seen in my life certainly helps, and it makes the game plan very easy to game plan against when you have a team that literally can't shoot. But just some numbers for the Celtics defense: they only allowed 93.6 points per game, which was first in the first round. The Magic only shot 42% from the field, which was second, and the Magic only shot 26% from three, which was first. The Celtics did play good defense and they had the right game plan. They weren't doing unnecessary things and giving up easy points from the field, but it is just like the Magic suck on offense. They stink. So the Celtics putting together this game plan of just like letting them shoot. They weren't going over screens. They were just playing how they want the Orlando Magic to play. So here, this is a perfect example of this, right? So when Paolo's in the post, when Franz is in the post, we're going to crowd them and make others beat us, right? KCP is a guy that usually can shoot the ball in the playoffs. Did a lot of talking in this playoff series. Didn't do a lot of hooping. But here we got Al Horford on Franz. We got a pick and roll between him and Carter Jr. The Celtics were switching these a lot in this series, but look how Al Horford switches. He switches under, right? So if Franz is going to take this pull-up three off the pick and roll, that's what we want him to do. And a lot of times the Celtics were just meeting Franz at the rim, and he takes the pull-up mid-range and he misses it. And I did feel a little bit bad for Paolo and Franz just not having adequate space. And anytime that Paolo drove, like, or he was in the post, like, he saw two guys, very heavy gap defense, and he was forced to trust his teammates who can't shoot it. And Anthony Black is a good young player, but he's not a guy that you trust to shoot the ball. So what do the Celtics do? We got Porzingis guarding Paolo. Jason Tatum just literally comes off of Anthony Black, right? And Paolo has to find a way. Crowded again. John Isaac is in the dunker spot, and then you have Tatum leaving Anthony Black to go help with Paolo. So he has three people in the paint with him. He makes a good pass. Black still doesn't want any part of the shot. And Peyton Pritchard, who was very good in this series defensively, guarding Paolo, guarding Franz, just stays in front of Cole Anthony and he misses. And this is what I mean by meeting Franz at the rim. Luke Cornett does exactly that in this play. So let's just say this is like a Steph Curry type, right? Well, not a Steph Curry type. Let's just say this is Steph Curry, right? Peyton Pritchard is most likely just going to switch right here and guard Curry at this level because he can shoot from wherever he wants to. Now, of course, there's nobody like Steph Curry, but if this was a respectable pull-up shooter and a guy that the Celtics on the scouting report has deemed him to be a good pull-up shooter, and that's something you don't want to give up, then Pritchard probably switches or Luke tries to meet him closer to the three-point line. But knowing the tendencies of the Orlando Magic, knowing the tendencies of Franz, knowing the tendencies of Paolo, allowed the Celtics to play this level of defensive game plan where, hey, any jump shots you take, we live with. Any jump shots you take, we live with, because we know that you're the worst at that, percentage-wise and all that. So Luke meets him at the rim, does a nice shot, contesting, forcing a miss. All right, so on this play, watch Sam Hauser right here. This is Franz Wagner, right? This is their second best scorer, their second best player, right? Sam Hauser just leaves him. Like, he just leaves him, bro. Franz is also not a good three-point shooter, but John Isaac, dude, this is one of the best defenders in the NBA when he's healthy, I promise you. But, bro, if somebody puts a compilation of his misses in this series, you're gonna think somebody was trying to break a wall down, bro. Like, airball, backboard, multiple, like, it was bad, bro. So we don't trust these guys to hit shots. Sam Hauser leaves Franz. Franz is wide open, and you see where KP is, right? There's two people on the three-point line that we don't give a flying fuck about. Franz is their second best player. John Isaac is, of course, not a shooter. Look where Sam Hauser is. Look where Kristaps Porzingis is. This is just not fair, and they have to get better on offense. They have to get better shooters if they really want to be serious. Nah, I ain't gonna lie, bro. This is crazy. Look at where every Celtic is. This is crazy. This is crazy, bro. Look where Tatum is. Look where Al Horford is, bro. All five Celtics have a foot in the paint, bro, because we just don't trust the teammates around Paolo. Orlando Magic fans, y'all got my approval to use this video, put it on Twitter, do whatever you got to do, bro. This is sad. Teams should not be able to defend y'all like this. And Corey Joseph ain't even that bad of a shooter, to be honest with you. KCP has a track record of being a really good, valuable 3-and-D guy. Franz, of course, his shot got a little bit fucked up. Carter Jr., in theory, can stretch the floor. Y'all got to get better respectable shooters, bro. Because Paolo going through this, 5 people in the paint, Tatum just sitting right there for any move that he does, he can just get right there. Al Horford sitting in the paint, like, this got to get better, bro. It really do. All right, so we have another example, and just look how Al Horford is playing this, right? Franz is walking down the court. Al Horford has no fear in his heart at all, and Franz didn't even look at the basket. Got the ball again, saw what Al was doing, still gave the ball to Paolo, which is still a great decision, but Al is just not worried about him pulling up from 3, like, not at all. So he goes to help. Franz is wide open, and at some point, Paolo is just gonna be like, "Hey, man, it is what it is." Franz is wide open, and at some point, it's just like, dude, like, I gotta do it myself. But he gets an offensive foul there, and of course, things got extremely tough when when Paolo was out. Those 5, look, bro, that is crazy. That is crazy, and this is how teams were defending Tatum in the finals. But let's try to look at the differences, right? So that's John Isaac, right? It makes sense for me to leave John Isaac, right? Because he's not a shooter. And again, like I said, geez, fuck, dude. The Mavericks were doing this to Tatum, leaving Kristaps Porzingis wide open in the corner. They were doing this to Jason Tatum, leaving Sam Hauser open in the corner. It made perfect sense when they tilted the floor to Anthony Edwards with Rudy Gobert on the floor, with a struggling Karl-Anthony Towns the whole series on the floor, with a struggling Nickeil Alexander-Walker on the floor, with Kyle Anderson on the floor, with Jaden McDaniels on the floor. It makes sense to tilt the floor to Anthony Edwards when he literally has no shooters around him. But when they did it to Jason Tatum, it meant more to me because of how the Celtics roster is constructed, right? Al Horford's a good shooter. Jaylen Brown's a good shooter. Kristaps is a good shooter. Pritchard's a good shooter. Sam Hauser's a good shooter. Like, we had shooters all around, and they still were doing shit like this, right? And again, Franz, like, the help right there by Al Horford, he can't even go that way. And then Tatum just completely leaves John Isaac in the corner, and he doesn't even hit the rim. And look, bro, that's their second best player. Horford sees Cole Anthony driving and completely leaves him. And watch this shit. Dude. Like, Young. What are they supposed to do with this? There's no confidence in that at all. There's no confidence in that. Like, huh? And in KCP was supposed to change their lives with his shooting, and he ain't do nothing either. All right, here we got some more good game plan discipline by Al Horford and Luke Kornet. They're going to switch, but they're going to switch under and make sure the roll man doesn't go anywhere. Luke Kornet, most of the times, is going to meet Franz at the rim, not going to worry about any jump shots he's taking. Does a nice job containing him here and contesting. All right, so the Magic go to some 77 action, and just look how far down Luke Kornet and Al Horford are sinking, bro. Like, double big, it was perfect defensively in this game because the majority of the stuff that we're trying to do is to protect the rim, right? So if I'm not putting pressure on Luke Kornet to guard on the perimeter, if I'm not putting pressure on Luke Kornet to show how or to hedge on these screens, and he can just be a rim protector and meet people at the rim and not even worry about pops. Carter Jr. was open this whole time. Al Horford just happened to go out there and contest, but they were not worried about this at all. They set 2 on-ball screens, 2 drag screens. Carter sets another one. And Pritchard's job is to trail Cole Anthony. Horford and Luke Kornet just sink down and they do whatever they need to do after that. And of course, not being worried about shooters allows our bigs to help on a lot of drives. We've seen in previous clips in this video where Paolo is just seeing so much help and guys are coming off of guys on the 3-point line and just electing to help on the drive. So this is what Luke Kornet does. We're not worried about popping the pops by Wendell Carter Jr. So Kornet just goes, follows Paolo, and a nice contest by him and Jaylen Brown. But that is a video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, subscribe, and share any and everyone that you can. Just shoot out there a little bit more, and I will see you guys in the next video. But this is Nick. Peace.